Good morning, it's Yvonne here to do your What's Cracking reading. Oh, look what we have on the bottom of the deck. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. If you're new on board, welcome. Hopefully I can bring you the messages that you're looking for. We're going to use the Arcanum Tarot today. Just a couple of things before we start. The first one is now you can book personal readings direct on my website, www.theaussiegoddess.com. You can pick your time, the type of reading you want, and do everything up front. It'll even book your Zoom appointment for you. So if you have any issues with that, or you need a time outside of that booking system, please email me and just sort of run it past me, because I do keep times aside for people outside of working hours, only if it's really necessary for you. The second thing is, of course, it's Wednesday. So for me, Wednesday is live day on YouTube. So I'll be live at 12 o'clock today, 12 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time if you're overseas. So I hope to see you there. And I think that's pretty much everything at this point in time. All right, let's see how we're going. Ooh, that's a big card first thing in the morning, isn't it? The old Death card. Death talks about, Spirit's saying the completion, but it probably is a completion in some regards, that you're coming to some sort of energy of what you've had, or what you've been, or what you've been living by in the past is no longer serving you. So when the Death card comes around, it can talk about great change occurring. Now, I always think with the Death card, and it happens with some of the other cards too, it can be something you force yourself, or it can be something that the universe forces upon you. Like, for example, your job may be coming to a conclusion, and you may not have any control over that. And or, on the other hand, it may be that you are sick of your job and looking for another job, so you may enforce change. Whichever way it is here, when change comes, sometimes it can be really uncomfortable. When the Death card comes through, whatever this change is no longer serving you. It is a change that is going to see something fall away completely. It's something that's never going to come back. It's done and dusted. You've obviously learned by it. Whatever it is, it's done. It's finished. Okay, so we have an offer coming in here. We have a little Pisces here. There's a love offer on the table here. But the Ace of Cups doesn't always represent love. The Ace of Cups is a cup of creativity. So this could be being offered something that is more around something you love doing, a hobby, a craft, a particular job, a situation. It can be a wedding invitation, an engagement invitation. But very often it sort of comes across when you've got someone asking you out, and it's often the first time. This isn't something that you get over and over. The Page is a new energy. It's something just starting out, something brand new. So there is something here that is starting out. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is you could be dealing with a Scorpio here. Okay, so we have the Strength card being followed by the Two of Wands. I feel like here you're letting something go. I feel that either somebody has made an offer to you or made some advance towards you that perhaps you're in the energy of not feeling it's right for you, or wanting to move on from something, because I have you moving forward here with the Two of Wands. So it's like something is being offered to you, and maybe because it's coming in the form of a page, you may be feeling this isn't a big enough offer. It may be that whatever is being offered here is going to make you change something about yourself. But ultimately it feels to me like, when you've wanted something for a really long time and you've craved it, you've wanted this particular thing, and then when it finally comes around and it's sort of laid in your lap, you're like, why did I even want that in the first place? What was it that I was wanting from that particular thing? And that's what the energy feels like to me here. It's like, it's like you've gone through some changes here, obviously big changes, and you've become this more integrated version of yourself. You're happily sort of accepting your shadow side. You're happily understanding more about yourself. So you're accepting yourself fully. And I feel like whatever is being offered to you here is not hitting the mark anymore. So it may be, for example, you've always wanted to, we always talk about the astronaut, me and my astronaut. You've always wanted to be an astronaut, and you get an opportunity to be an astronaut. But when you finally get to do it, you're like, I don't really know why I wanted to do this in the first place. It does not appeal to me one little bit. We've all done it at some stage or another, but I feel like this is taking you in a completely new direction now. You have a big change coming through. Oh, and then you have somebody coming back with the big cup. Okay, now I can see what's going on. You may have a job offer being offered to you. Somebody may be offering you a job offer. Maybe before you would have taken the job offer, and the Hanged Man just popped out from behind there. So I feel like you're learning to look at things from a different perspective. You may have in the past accepted something the way that it was offered to you. So for example, if somebody offered you, well, let's say a date. Somebody offered you a date and they didn't make any effort during the date. And you're like, you've taken me out on a date and I have this value. Why do you think it's okay to treat me in that way? So you probably wouldn't go out with them again. But what I feel like is happening here is that somebody's making some sort of offer to you. I feel that this changes within you here. I feel that you've been offered something now and you're moving forward saying, well, that just isn't right for me. It's not big enough. It's not solid enough, whatever it is. It may be that somebody's offered you, say, for example, a job, and they've offered you $50,000 a year when you've always got 100. So you've said no to them at this point. I won't accept that. I'm worth more than that. I have the experience. I'm, valued worker. I know what I put in. It's not enough because somebody's coming with a bigger offer here. Now, the fact that I have the work card here makes me feel for some of you it could be a job offer. It could be that they are offering you a job and saying to you, we'll offer you this amount of money. And you're saying to them, I'm really sorry. That isn't enough for me anymore. I've been through all these changes. I know what my value is now. So I'm not accepting that low offer. I want something more because this person is coming in and offering you the big job. So you're getting the whole kit and caboodle. So, you may have somebody who's been messing you around with a relationship for a while who isn't prepared to put in the energy for the long haul. You may have somebody that's been dating for, over 12 months and you're thinking, I haven't got the do you want to live in or do you want to get married thing. And somebody just plodding along with that. You see, the thing is, you've made all these changes within yourself here. And you're starting to understand your personal value. So what used to work for you or what you allowed to happen to you no longer works the way that you think it ought to. So something here you are putting your foot down on and saying, not doing that. I'm moving on here. Okay. Oh, and there's the Hanged Man, of course, which poked its head out before. The reason this is happening is because you're seeing things from a different perspective. So perhaps before you didn't really see your own value. Maybe you allowed people to misuse you or I want to say abuse you because I feel like sometimes that is abuse when people sort of, offer you less than your value, offer you less than your worth. I met people who say to me, I've been in a relationship for 3 years and I say, is there a commitment on the table? No, it's still the same as it was 3 years ago. And I think, why are you there then? Why aren't you asking for what you want? Why aren't you saying, I want commitment, I want marriage, I want this, I want that? That's okay. What is the worst that's going to happen? You're going to stay in that relationship for years doing the same thing over and over again because it suits somebody else's idea of what a relationship is. Is it what you want? Somebody sent me something this morning. You know who you are. Thank you very much again. Delightful person who sent me a clip. And I thought it's so true. We're talking about relationships and we're talking about what works in a relationship and how it's portrayed in the media, which was quite interesting. Very often, we think that things should be a certain way when in our gut, in our intuition, we know things should be different, but we still accept them the way we are. And we try all sorts of things with relationships, but the one thing we don't do is ask for what we want. So, you're 12 months down the track and you say to somebody, well, have you told him how you feel? Have you told him what you want from a relationship? No. Why not? Oh, then he may go, or he may not love me anymore, or he may leave me, or whatever. And I think, well, are you going to put up with something that you're not getting what you want from because you fear losing someone? Because that seems a bit silly to me. That's codependency right there. So when people are talking about codependency, sometimes people confuse that with dependency. It's very, very different. Codependency is your fear of speaking up for what you want because you feel that the person or the situation you're dealing with is more important than you. So if you step in and you go for a job and somebody offers you only half of what you've been paid before, it's okay to say, actually, that's a lot less than I've received before, and I now have all the experience. I would be expecting X amount of dollars. If they don't give you the job, so be it. So be it. Don't be so desperate to undersell yourself because you feel the other thing is more important than you. So the Hanged Man says you've started to see it from a different perspective. You started to understand that your value is really important here. I feel like for some of you, there's some sort of communication and an offer of a new start coming in from some love interest here. Now, again, it could be a partnership. We won't leave that one aside because there's always an opportunity, like somebody's coming in to work with you, for example, and they say, well, yeah, I'm more well-known than you, so therefore, I expect a bigger piece of the pie. And that's okay to say, well, if that's the case, then you go work by yourself and I'll do what I need to do. It's okay to say those things. It's okay to call someone on their inability to offer you what you want. That's what makes you strong. It installs a sense of value in you. There is a love offer on the table here. I feel like somebody's communicating with you here. But I feel like for some of you, this person may have been around before and may have only offered you something small or breadcrumbed you. Because there's a new opportunity coming in here to move forward with this person. Now, it may not be you had a relationship with this person before. It may just be that you maybe dated them and they were very poor in the dating arena. We all have our limits on what we're going to expect or accept. But sometimes people don't meet those limits and you have to ask yourself then, is that a deal breaker? Because sometimes we still keep pushing through even though we've seen red flags. This energy here tells me that somebody may have offered you something in the past that was very small or very not really in line with what you felt you were worth. And I feel like this person may try to do the same thing again, but I feel like this time you're going to stand your ground. If they're coming back around again, then they obviously want to play the same game and you're not willing to do that. Ten of Swords coming through with the World card. There's definitely some sort of cycle closing out here. And I feel like the cycle that you're closing out is the one where you didn't respect yourself enough to ask for what you wanted. You may be dealing with a Libra, Gemini, Aquarius here. But I feel like this time, you're willing to say no. You're willing to say, this doesn't suit me. It's not a big enough offer. It's not a solid enough offer. I want more. I want the whole kit and caboodle. If you're not prepared to give me that, then I'm happy to move on. I've talked a few times about watching the particular dating coach I watch, Matthew Hussey. And I feel that he's very fair in his dealings and he's certainly not over the top by any means. But he sort of talks about, when you're not able to get what you want from the person you're with. So say, for example, you're saying to the person, I want commitment, and the person's saying, well, I actually don't. Then where do you go from there? If you're asking for commitment and your person says they don't want it, then really and truly it's time to go. Because you don't keep persevering thinking that person's going to change their mind. But there are ways to approach that. And I feel like this is what the universe is saying here. That you don't accept that people are going to change for you. If it isn't what you want, then it's best to back out right there and then. But it's okay to ask for what you want. You don't have to. Yeah, see, there we go. 8 of Cups energy. Queen of Cups, 10 of Pentacles. Okay, I can see what we're going to what we're going to look at here. There is always a need for you to respect who you are. There's always a need for you to stand up and talk for what you want. You only get to do it once. If the other person doesn't want it, then don't persevere with it. But remember that if the person that you're dealing with, or the job you're dealing with, or whatever it is that you're dealing with here, if they don't want the same as you, don't expect them to change who they are. Because it's not going to happen. So if you want a commitment and you say to this person, I want a commitment, and they say, I don't want one, then you have to consider whether you need to walk away at that point. But it's okay to say to them, you know, well, obviously we have really big differences in where we are. I want a commitment, you don't. So therefore, it's best that I go off and look for what I need and you go and look for what you need, because we are not going to see eye to eye on this. But if you persevere with it and your person's still there 3 or 4 years later with no commitment, then you have sacrificed your own needs for that person. You have put that person's needs above your own. And here we have the Queen of Cups with the Ten of Pentacles. And ultimately for me, this is being fulfilled. So if it's not with a person, it's your own fulfillment. But what I see here is a movement away from something, but I see a leap of faith towards this particular situation. So I feel like somehow or another you're walking away and holding your value here, and this is why this person is coming in with a bigger value. Now, that doesn't mean they've sacrificed or compromised their own values for you. It means that you're saying, I'm worth more than that. This is what I'm worth. So if it's a job and you're saying to the job, or the person in the job, that I feel I'm worth 100,000, you can't offer me 50, then if the job doesn't want you, that's fine. You get to walk away with your integrity intact. But ultimately, I feel like you'll find if you speak up for yourself, most of the time, you'll get what you want. You won't be left wanting. You won't be left without. So it's time to speak up. And that is the change within you here. And it's part of your personal power. Somebody is offering you something, but because of the changes you've made here, you're understanding that it's probably just worth moving on. Because I feel like then you will get the offer you're looking for. I feel like for some of you this is in work, but we definitely have stability here. So maybe you're dealing with someone who's just happy to just keep dating, you know, getting their needs met, and they don't want to meet your needs. But you won't put up with it anymore because you've grown. You understand now that you have to stand with your own values. You have to respect yourself enough to say, actually, I'm worth more than that. This is who I am. And if your person can't give that to you, you have to consider, do I want to sit around here for the next 10 years meeting this person's needs but not having my needs met? Now I feel like for some of you here, as I said, yeah, there's definitely a cycle ending. The moon is here as well. There's a realization within you here. There's a huge realization here of a cycle that you've been maintaining for a really long time. And for you, this cycle may be lowering your value or accepting things that aren't right for you. But there's something changing with the Moon card and the Six of Swords, because you're moving away from this sort of inability to speak up for what you want, or the inability to see things the way you want to see them. There is no harm in it. Like I always say to people, what is the worst that can happen? If you say to somebody, I want commitment, and they say, well, I don't, well, the worst thing that can happen is you get to go off and meet somebody else who wants to meet your needs on a different level. That's what we would call the worst case scenario. But there is a best case scenario there. There is the best case scenario that says, this person says to you, well, I'd really like to have a think about it first. Or, yeah, let's separate and let's have time apart and we can make our minds up which way to go. Or this person could say, well, I don't want to lose you. What do you need from me? Alrighty, let's have a look at an oracle card. It's funny because working with people for such a long time, I've really seen these changes in people, which is beautiful. Yeah, look at that, the arrow. Perfect. Yep. Receiving this symbol reminds you that when you are in alignment with your heart and soul, you are on target and will soon be hitting your mark. Be true to your calling, release attachments, and free yourself from the bondage of unbridled ambition. Now is revealed to be a moment of contact in which your intention meets the material world. The arrow also symbolizes the need to set your creativity free. When the arrow zings through the air, it is inviting you to pay attention and signifying that you are about to make your mark in some aspect of your life. It illuminates the moment of contact when you know that your desires and intentions have travelled on the wind and landed in the perfect place for your highest good. Trust that your job is to be relaxed yet focused, keeping your eye on the prize, yet releasing your intention with full expectation that it will land as it's supposed to. Don't worry about the how or the exact form. This is not a time to interfere with the manner in which the arrow flies. It will make its mark and you will have cause to celebrate. So there you go. Go like the arrow. Intention met. All right, thank you.